Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. So looking here, the Abyssal Expedition beta is up. We have 5 short hours before we can go ahead and get into the Abyssal Expedition. So Arty and Alpattex have put up an absolutely amazing guide that I'm going to share with you today. I will also put a link down below. Again, big shout out to those guys. Content creators, absolutely amazing content. So let's go ahead, we'll get into the guide and kind of break down what this Abyssal Expedition is going to look like. So again, I will put a link to the guide down there. So an introduction, gameplay, settlements. Settlements, you actually, when you join, you do want to make sure that you put a hero in the settlement that you start. Capturing and maintaining tiles rewards you with Blessed Essence and Relics, which are used to strengthen your roster inside of the Abyssal Expedition. You may only attack adjacent tiles and you can garrison heroes within there. Big thing to look at, entering the Abyssal Expedition. So here's where it is. So when you go into the Abyssal Expedition, you can start with 2 teams. Big thing to remember is you do not have any relics when you first enter the Abyssal Expedition, meaning that you want to go in with your strongest teams. Here they're running with Iran, like a combination with Sophia, very, very strong. Daemon combination in here is amazing. So this is actually the strongest comp that I used, was the God tier team, essentially taking out Mahira, putting in Daemon. Super, super effective when it came to taking teams. Also, your level is going to be based on the crystal level. So all the heroes will start at 240 for every 10 levels that you are above. You're going to go ahead and get +1 level depending on where you're at, which is going to make a difference if you're starting to take villages 1, 2, or 3 right off of the bat, or even going into the basic towns when the Abyssal Expedition does open up. Make sure also that when you're going through here is when you're dropping a 1, you're taking a 3. When you're dropping a village 2, you're taking a town 1. You're going up at least 2. If you go stage by stage by stage, it is very, very time consuming, and it also does take an incredible amount of stamina when you get to that point. So looking at the rewards, this is what we need out of the chest. So out of the Baron chest, you're going to go with the Twisted Essence. Poe coins you can get from the shop, so ultimately we don't want to pick those up. Twisted Essence, you get a very, very small amount every other day, meaning that is the priority. Second one, you want to go with the Poe coins on this one, 4,500, so you're going to be able to do a pull there. Again, amplifying emblems will come from the shop. Then, of course, here, red chests. Anytime that you see red chests in most events, anytime you see them as rewards for the Abyssal Expedition, anything like that, you want to pick them up. Essentially, they are going to be the biggest priority when you come out of the Abyssal Expedition. So again, here it talks to them the marital rating, meaning that every 10 plus levels, so if I'm at 240 or I'm at 250, essentially you're going to get 1 level higher. Big thing that to remember is faction bonuses are applied only if the hero is actively wearing the gear. Does not need to be tier 1, does not need to be tier 2. So when you're making your team, so essentially here is a strong pathing team. When you're making your team, if you're going strictly, let's say, celerity, making sure every hero you have in the Abyssal Expedition is wearing a piece of gear, regardless of the faction, or excuse me, regardless of the level, just making sure it is faction. It does have to be faction gear. All Elder Tree signature item furniture bonuses are also applied. And remember, heroes can only join if they are Elite Plus, meaning if you're looking at Mortis, make sure that you essentially have Mortis at E+, or you're not going to be able to build him. So relic building, again, I'm just really covering the biggest focuses when it comes to the Abyssal Expedition. There's no requirements for the final boss based on trees. So the last one we know it was Celerity and Mage, or Warrior and Mage. You did need the Mage aspect of it. This one, because there is only 1 tree, it's going to be a little bit interesting. Celerity has proven to be the most effective for pathing because, remember, the Celerity tree, the Ranger tree, has dodge, which is very, very powerful. Doesn't mean other classes can't work, but this is beta, no leaderboards, so we're going to go ahead and try different things. We have players going with Celerity, we have players going with Mage, we have players going with Warrior, seeing what is essentially going to work very, very strong. So looking at the hero priority, again, just going down the middle, this spot right here. So if you're looking at Celerity, Very, very strong teams. Starting 10 right there. Swap out Rowan, Tassie, Sophia, Vert, Gwen, and Pharrell for 3 more celerity heroes. Building down here. Once you hit Baron, once you hit Marquise and Duke, you're adding in a blend of support heroes as well as the boss killers. As you can see, when we hit on Marquis, you're adding in Mortis, which is strong. You're adding in Isolde. You're adding in Saurus. There's a bunch of heroes added to that level. Those are your boss killing heroes. When you start getting into the second boss, or even the primary boss, Aziz, these are what you're going to use with formations, with your energy to essentially kill out a bunch of different teams and kill out the bosses. These are the ones you're actually going to save energy on when you're building them. So when you drop this team in, you're just going to sit on this team. It is going to be the stall team, because this is what you're going to use as your main boss killing team. And that is the only time you're going to use energy on them, is when you want to kill the main boss. So looking on the right side, heroes to look out for against Aziz. These are heroes on the final boss that could be very, very detrimental. Remember, Aziz is going to be summoning totems. We haven't seen him in action yet. I don't think anyone there is far enough on the test server right now to see exactly what's going to happen based on the lineup of all of these different builds. So we have Grez in there. We have Saurus. Saurus is absolutely amazing when it comes on there. So looking at the predictions, with the new AE comes a new boss. This time we get Zephyriel, Oscar, Titus, Dark Namora, and a unique Aziz, again with the bosses. We've only taken down once. We've taken down Zephyriel. We've taken down Oscar. Haven't seen any of the other bosses. We know the Dark Namora and the Grotesque Mage we've seen before, which is right in the middle, the celerity players and the sorcery players. So depending on which side you're starting, could be the tree that you really focus on. But then again, we don't know how much the celerity is going to do damage on sorcery, or vice versa. It is yet to be seen exactly how that is going to play out. So some of the tips and tricks definitely to remember: always communicate with your militia or your guild through the entire, whether you're using chat, direct messages, Discord. If you need help taking out tier 5 and above, this is a perfect way to do it, because you can actually coordinate. Player 1 kills the first team, player 2 kills out the second team. Very, very easy to make a ton of progression and also build your relics much faster, because you do have the option through here when you get into building heroes. Use the settlement feature. Again, make sure when you do your settlement feature, you are connected to the boss. That will give you the 5% damage boost, essentially, when you're attacking the boss. Some of the trap tiles. So some of the most difficult tiles that we have in here, Orthos, Flora, Oden, Thorin, Namora, and Tassie, are very difficult early on because they do an exorbitant amount of damage. Plus they have special abilities that can kill out your team very, very quickly. Meaning when you go to take the tier 5 or higher, teams like this can kill your entire team, leaving you short essentially on essence when it comes to building them. When unlocking new hero slots, go ahead and drop out some of the ones you have. If you put them back in, you instantly get the 60 food, especially if they don't have any essential stamina when you're dropping them out. So very, very cool. Avoid using 4 times and sometimes even 2 times, which is the speed, because if you wipe, you cannot use that team again. Recost only costs 1, losing costs 12. So 12 times essentially what it is if you're losing. If you try it 2-3 times and you realize you cannot beat the battle, just go ahead and leave it instead of losing that full 12 stamina, which is very, very expensive. In addition, some more tips and tricks. One, make sure you go ahead and put a hero in your starting tile. A lot of players do forget about that. Also, tips and tricks. When you're pathing, don't use a full 5-person team when you're pathing. It is very, very expensive to use them. If you go 2 or 3 heroes, you can go through pathing very, very quickly when it comes to the Abyssal Expedition. Again, this guide is going to be up down below. I will actually put the link to it. Very cool map to follow. It will make a lot more sense. I know I got a lot of questions about the Abyssal Expedition. That is why I love doing these guides. AFK, Arty, and Alpattex, big shout out to them again, doing absolutely phenomenal with the guides. But overall, when you look at it, a lot of this will make more sense when it comes to the guide itself and when you get into the Abyssal Expedition. So guys, let me know in the comments down below If you have any questions, please let me know. Again, the Abyssal Expedition is going to be up in about 5 hours. We will have access and we'll be able to see it in real time exactly how far we're going. So again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.